Tēnei te mihi, no mai, haere mai. Ki te wānanga o Rakuraku. Welcome to another guitar lesson here with Pūtātara Music. My name is Trojan-John. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, we have plenty of content up there now, and we're continuing on to provide accessible music education, preserving some of this mātauranga o Waiata Maori. Cool. Today we're going to get into Paikea. As per usual, if you want to skip straight through to the parts of the lessons, we have the timestamps in the description to see where you need to get to if you just want to go straight there. We've also got our kupu and our lyrics pinned in the comments with a English interpretation of the words. With the song as well, we've got Paikea, which is a tupuna of Ngāti Porou, so a big shout out to the iwi and the people of Ngāti Porou on the east coast of the North Island of Aotearoa, New Zealand, around the Gisborne area. Also a shout out to the writer of this song, this Waiata, Mikaera Pewhairangi. From what I understand, it started out as a haka first and has eventuated into this Waiata that we hear today. On the side note to that, I am a Te Arawa descendant, born and raised in Rotorua, so I know it as a different song because the melody and the chords are all the same, but with it we would go with Ngatoro-i-rangi, who was a tohuna of the Te Arawa waka. But there's a bit of contention on who wrote it first, whether it was Te Arawa or whether it was Ngāti Porou. But I'm not going to get into that. All that I'm just going to go is we're going to learn the song. I'm going to do the Te Pātea Māori Club version, as that was probably the easiest one to hear all the chords that were going on and just the structure of the song in general. But yeah, if you want to change the key, then that's all good. You can go with that. Easy as, because it's just a 1-4-5 progression, kind of like a blues thing, but it's in a 3/4 timing, or 6/8 I should really say. Other than that, let's get into this one. So Paikea, one of the requested songs, let's go. Ka pai team, so this is in the key of A major. Now I'm going to do this with bar chords. You can do the open chords if you want to, so you can just do the A like this, and then you can do the D like that, and you can do the E major just like this too. Alright, so that's cool as well, but I'm going to do it in bar chord form, and that will help with this bop rhythm. So this is not in common time, it's in a 3/4 feel. Really, I think it's in a 6/8 because all the chords you're holding for 6 counts as opposed to normal 4/4 or common time 4/4. So with 6/8, it has like a waltz timing and feel to it. So the bop rhythm, just like Pūtātara or e papa. E papa has been done in 3/4 timing or 6/8. I think it's 3/4. But that is the one that we do with rako games and stuff, where you do the clapping of the sticks and throwing them between each other, if you know anything about Maori culture and some of the kimu that we play. Cool, so with that, a 6/8 in the key of A major. So with our A chord, we're going to do it with the bar across the 5th fret. All 6 strings are going to be barred. And then we are going to put our 3rd finger on the 7th fret of the 5th string or the A string. Straight underneath that on the 7th fret of the D string or the 4th string, and then we're going to have our 2nd finger playing the 3rd note of the chord, which is on the 6th fret of the G or the 3rd string. So we should have that there, and then if we can see that, I'm going to place my 2nd finger there, and there we go. And you're going to strum all 6 strings for this. So when we get into the intro, it is just going to be vamping on that A major. So you're going to wait until you hear the katahi, kārua, kātoru. Now this is 1, 2, 3. In a 6/8 timing or 3/4 timing, you don't count 1, 2, 3, 4 to get into the song. Alright, because that just ends up confusing everyone. It's not that kind of feel. So when you do these types of timings, it's 3. So you're going 1, 2, 3, but in this case, because we're going to say it in Te Reo Māori, kātoru, katahi, kārua, kātoru is what you hear, and then you start the song. So we'll start it off, katahi, kārua, kātoru. That's all it is. So you're going to hear that vamp, and then you're going to hear the count come in, ka tahi, ka rua, ka toru, and then that's when you start singing. Okay, so it's just vamping on that A major. Now with my strum pattern, what I'm doing, it's all down strums for this. I'm going to go bass note, and I usually hit the low E and the A for this. So I'm just getting those two strings on the bottom, and that just gives it the first bump. And that's why I call it an bop bop rhythm, like bop bop bump bop bump bump bop. Now what you see with me is that I choke the chord by just lifting my chord hand off, hence why I play it in a bar chord form. So that way I'm able to get the cut off of the note and choke it, so it gives it more of a staccato kind of feel. If I was to just hold it down, it will sound like this. Which, yeah, it does work, but I just like the feel for myself to have more staccato in it, so I cut the note off. And then I'm going on the 1, I'm hitting those bass strings, and then on the 2 and the 3, I'm trying to go for all the strings but putting more emphasis on the higher strings. So on the high E, the B string, and the G. And it's all down strums. So then on the 1 and the 4, I should be hitting the bass string. And then on the 2, 3, and the 5 and 6, I hit the high strings. That's our strum pattern for the whole entire song. Cool. Now, for our intro, once the intro is over, then we're going to go into the first verse. And it's 6/8 for those counts. So we're going to do 6 counts on each chord, except for when we do the turnaround. But this is what the first bit sounds like. So I'm going to start as if I'm vamping the intro. Ka tahi, ka rua, ka toru, uia mai koe, whakahua tia ke, ko wai te whare nei e, ko wai te teko teko. Okay, so for that first bit of the verse there, we just got the A for 6 counts. And then we're going to go to D. So we're going to go to D, which is our 4 chord. So it's just a 1, 4, 5, kind of like a blues run. So we're going to go with the 4th chord, which is a D major. So we're going to bar the 5th fret, but we're not going to bar the low E string. So we're only barring from the A to the high E. And then we're also going to add a 2nd bar with my 3rd finger. And we're going to be barring across the D, the G, and the B string here on the 7th fret. We don't want to hit that low E when we're doing our strum for this song on the D chord. So I'm just going to do the same thing as what I was doing with the A chord, but instead of the low E and the A string, or the 4th, or the 5th and the 6th string, I'm going to do it with the 4th and the 5th string. So the D and the A now. Still just down strums, okay? And that's our D chord. So that's our next one, and we do that for 6 counts. Then we're going to go up to E major, and then that's just moving up 2 frets from D. So now our bar moves from the 5th fret up to the 7th fret, and our 2nd bar now moves on to that 9th fret. So that's an E major. Right, so we're barring right across the 5 strings, and then we're going to bar with our 3rd finger across the D, the G, and the B string. Okay? And then you hit that E for another 6 counts. Now, once we get through that, so yeah, ko wai te whare nei e is where you play the E. Ko wai te whare nei e. Then once you get back to that E, you're going to resolve back to the 1, which is just the A major. And then it's going to only play that for 3 counts. And then you're going to play E for 3 counts. So you're still measuring up to the 6. And that E, because it's the 5 chord of the key, it's got a natural lead tone note. So then when you resolve back to A to start the next part of the verse, it should sound all like as if we've resolved it and now we're back at home. Okay, so if I was to play the chorus all the way through, the verse all the way through, it should sound like this. You just repeat it twice, okay? So we're going, ooh, my chord. Paikea ake, ko wai te whare nei e. Tani ko wai te teko kei runga. Ko Paikea, ko Paikea. And that's the first verse. So once the first verse is out of the way, we then head into the second verse, or I think of it like a chorus. And this is where the time changes, okay? So we're going through a time signature change here, and it goes to a 9/8. And all that means is that you're just counting nine counts to the chord, okay? So we're going to go with the A, and it just stays within that 1-4-5 progression, so an A major, a D major, and an E major. So we're going with A major, and it's Whakako Paikea, Whakako he tipua, Whakako he taniwha, Kau Paikea ahu ahu, Pakia ki te piti a koe, ko tānia nei e. Alright? And then, yeah. So now with that 9/8, it only does that for those three lines of that chorus second verse. So the whakako Paikea, it's 9 counts of A. Whakako he tipua, it's 9 counts of D. And then whakako he taniwha is 9 counts of E. Now after you completed that 9 counts on E, you need to stay on that E for an extra 6 counts, because you return back to 6/8, but you don't resolve back to the A chord, you stay on the E. So the E ends up going for 15 counts. Alright, so important piece of information to know there. So what it will sound like, I'll go from the whakako he taniwha, okay? Whakako he taniwha. So that's where the 9 count has finished. So I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. So that's coming out of that second verse / chorus, right? And then it leads back into the verse chords, which is what's going to happen in the third verse with the kei te whitia ko kahutia rangi. Alright, so what it will sound like, so I'll go from the top of that chorus line, or the second verse, from the whakako Paikea. So tahi, rua, toru, whakako Paikea, whakako he tipua, whakako he taniwha, kau Paikea ki ahu ahu, pakia kei te whitia koe, ko kahutia te rangi. Me ai e tō ure ki te tamahine, a te whiro nui, nana inoho, and so forth and so forth. Okay, so once you come out of that chorus bit, or the second verse, you're going to end up coming back in, and you end up on the kei te whiti koe, ko kahutia rangi. And then what happens is you're going to go through, but as you get to the end part there, and it goes from the nana inoho te roto o tahe, auehi, he koruru koe, koro e. On that particular part, you're actually holding the E for a bit longer. So you're going nana inoho te roto tahe, auehi, ruru koe koro e. Mai koe whakarua ake, ko ai te whare nei e. Right, so you hold that E for an extra 6 counts. So you're holding it twice on when you at the end of that he koruru koe koro e. You're holding it for another for just a little bit longer, and then you do the turnaround. So you're just doing the A for 3 counts, and then the E for 3 counts. And then once that you head back to the A, you're straight back in. So you should hear kind of an overlapping of the kātahi, kārua, kātoru as well. And then you just repeat the whole song, and you do that again. Right at the end, you just end on the A. And you just vamp that A again. Other than that, that is pretty much the entire song. So you've got it, you just got to practice it, and then we're all good to go. So just remember, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. We've got plenty of content up there. We've got plenty more on the way, having accessible opportunities to Waiata Maori, preserving this mātauranga. That's our vision here at Pūtātara Music. So go and enjoy the jam track, have a little play along. Other than that, we'll catch you in the next video. Ciao.